Welcome back to film, quick film.
Quick film.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been on a movie stint, I guess. So Unbreakable it might have been Shyamalan's second film because he hit it big with Sixth Sense.
I thought Unbreakable was more recent.
No. This was from when he was like everyone thought he was the next big like all-star thing because he did Sixth Sense, he did Unbreakable, and so there were two movies in a row, and everyone's like, "Holy shit, these movies are amazing." There was a fence there.
I know. Just keep talking.
And then his third movie was like it wasn't bad.
But
it was Signs. I think he did Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and then Signs. And Signs wasn't amazing, but it was still pretty good. And everyone's like, "Oh, this is it. This is the guy." And then he did The Village, and everyone's like, "The fuck are you doing, man? What was that?"
Was The Village where everybody started to turn on him?
I think that's when it started happening. You got earthquaked. Earthquake. So Unbreakable. Bruce Willis is in a train accident and somehow is the only survivor.
Okay.
Everyone else dies. So, he's kind of like, okay, weird, whatever, I'm gonna go back to my life. He works security at like a stadium.
Okay.
And then he gets contacted by Samuel Jackson.
Okay.
Who is... he runs not a comic book shop.
But basically a comic book shop?
He's really into comics as an art.
Okay.
So, imagine a comic book shop but super, super snobby. Like, there's a scene where there's two superheroes and they're like, it's like this real iconic like cover, but it's not the comic cover, it's like an original drawing before they stupefy it for the comic book.
Like a variant cover.
Yeah, but like real nicely drawn and stuff.
Right.
And it's almost more like an art gallery, the way that he runs this place. And there's like a dad, and he's like, "Oh, this is great." He's telling him, "Oh, it represents this and the duality of blah blah blah." And the dad's just like, "Oh, awesome! My kid's gonna love it." And he's like, "Your kid? How old is your kid?" He's like, "Oh, he's like 8. He loves comic books." And he like kicks him out of the store. He's like, "No. This is art. I'm not letting this be a stupid birthday present for some kid." So he's super snobby about it.
Okay.
And Samuel Jackson has some weird disorder, ailment thing, where his bones are super, super fragile.
Super brittle bones?
Super brittle bones. Where, like, if he just falls, just like a normal fall, he can just break dozens of bones.
Okay.
Super fragile. So he kind of, like, he's always very careful, and he walks with a cane, and he's just not very physically fit. So he gets in touch with Bruce Willis, and he's just kind of like, oh, that's a shame. And he's just like, "Look, Bruce, let me level with you. I believe that comic books, the whole point is every comic books always blow everything up to 11.
Right.
Everything is always way over the top.
Right.
But the root idea is true. That there are people with cool abilities.
Yeah.
But because comic books, everything's out of proportion and way, tune it up, not just to 11, to like 1100.
Yes.
But, maybe once upon a time, there were people who would be, you are exceptionally strong. But, just like, maybe like Captain America strong. We're like pretty dang strong. Just not, I can punch a planet in half. And he keeps like harassing Bruce. He's just like, look, I can prove it to you. I think you survived for a reason. You're special.
This movie sounds like it got kind of weird.
I mean, I can tell you how it ended, if you really want to.
I mean, I'm never going to watch it, so you may as well.
Well, if you want to keep watching, spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil Unbreakable. And it's a Shyamalan movie, and there's a big twist. So I'm actually spoiling something.
Okay.
Oh, it's puntaggio. Oh, I love croquet.
No, that's Puntagio.
No, that's Protagio, and he's playing croquet.
Is that the sun?
I don't fucking know.
Who's this supposed to be? Is this Galileo?
Oh, is it Galileo? Oh, wait,
it's
no.
Copernicus.
I was gonna hope it was Galileo proposing that the sun is the center of the universe.
No, it's Copernicus trying to prove that the Earth is not the center of the universe. And that's the Pope.
What did Galileo propose, where they got all angry at him? I thought he was the guy that said the sun was the center.
I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong.
Anyways, spoilers for Unbreakable. I'm gonna spoil the whole fucking movie. Because Eric likes spoilers. He's weird like that.
Yeah, I like spoilers.
So, Samuel Jackson starts harassing him.
Okay.
He's like, I think you're special. I think you have these cool abilities. And he starts asking him all these questions like, have you ever gotten sick? And Bruce Willis is like, huh. Because he feels like he's just getting harassed by Samuel Jackson.
Okay.
So then he's like, you know, actually, I don't remember if I've ever gotten sick. So he goes to talk to his boss. And he's like, hey, have I ever taken a sick day? Just out of curiosity. And the boss comes at him the next day and he's just like, haha, very funny. All right, fine, you can have a promotion. Bruce is like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What?
And he's like, I checked the records. You've never taken a sick day. Once. Ever. I get what you're saying. I'll give you a raise. And Bruce is like, oh. Okay. Weird. And Samuel Jackson's just like, see? I told you, you never get sick. And then, like, there's a little side thing where Sam follows him to work because he works security.
Right.
And Bruce Willis bumps into a guy and, like, just gets this weird feeling. So he randomly starts ordering pat-downs.
Okay.
Because there's this big line. And he bumped into a guy that was farther back in line. So then he walks up to the front of the line. He's like, hey, start doing pat-downs. And he turns to Sam Jackson. He's like, if this guy's carrying, if he's got a weapon, he'll leave now. Because he doesn't want to get caught. And then the guy turns and leaves. And Sam Jackson's just like, how did you know? He's like, well, he was wearing that kind of, like, weird coat. Like, longer trench coat kind of a thing. He's like, people like that tend to carry.
Right.
And Sam's just like, are you sure? You didn't, nothing else happened. And he's just like, I don't know, I had this, like, weird image of, like a gun with, like, a silver handle on it. And so Samuel Jackson follows the guy and ends up, like, really trying his best to, like, run after him. And he ends up falling down a flight of stairs and breaking, like, 1,000,000 bones.
Right.
But at the very end, he sees that the guy had a gun with a silver handle. And that's what he's trying to say, is that, no, you actually have these abilities. They're just subtle, and you need to actually accept that you have them.
Okay.
And, like, Bruce Willis has a kid, and the kid loves it, because Samuel Jackson's trying to tell him that his dad's a superhero.
Right.
And so the kid's like, oh, dude, come on, it's totally. And he keeps, like, telling other kids, like, oh, my dad could beat up your dad. Like, shit like that. It's really funny. So, like, eventually Bruce Willis ends up, like, Samuel Jackson was right. There's a scene where Bruce Willis he goes down to his basement, he's got a weight bench, and he's lifting weights.
And he's lifting a weird amount of weight.
Well, like, at first he's just doing normal, and then the kid comes down, he's like, hey, I'll help. He's just like, okay, fine. You know, put an extra 10 on, or whatever. And Bruce, you know, lays down, and he does one, I don't want to say rep. Wait, that doesn't count as you died? What?
It doesn't even count. Yeah, it doesn't. Well, because, like, I'm launching out of these things from their control, so the fact that I didn't even make it,
You have to be going faster. But the kid, like, at one point puts on too much weight.
Okay.
And he sits down, and he still manages to do a push. I don't know what they call it, a rep?
Right.
He does it once, an up and a down.
A rep.
And he turns to the kid, and he's just like, how much did you put on there? And the kid's just like, oh, I put on more than you said. And he's just like, that's not cool. I could really get hurt. Let's keep going. And so then he does another one, and he turns to the kid, and he's like, hey, kid, how much did you put on? He's like, that's all of it. There's no weights left. And he's like, what else we got? So they start, like, taping paint cans to the bar, and he can still do it. and he just keeps being able to do it. And then he, like, Samuel Jackson keeps trying to push him, like, keep going, see if you can develop this. And so he also has this theory that the whole, like, he saw the gun. Like, maybe you have some sort of, you know, gift and you can see things. So he goes out to a big public area.
Okay.
And just, like, purposely starts trying to bump into a bunch of people. And then he actually starts seeing bad stuff that they've done. And he ends up catching a guy who's, like, he'd taken a family hostage and was on his way to go back to that family's house and keep doing bad things.
Oh,
and he like, corners them, and he helps save the day. But there's another thing where he's still trying to prove Sam Jackson wrong at one point, and he's like, oh, I got sick once in elementary school. I almost drowned. It was really serious. And Sam Jackson's finally like, oh, that's because water's your kryptonite. And so, like, at the big fight in the end, the villain pushes Bruce Willis onto a pool with, like, a big cover over it.
Okay.
And so he starts sinking, and the cover is, like, pulling him down because it's a pool cover. And, like, some kids that he saved pull him out, and he saves the day. And then he's wearing, like, a weird poncho because he's a security guard, and so that kind of becomes his, like, outfit. Because then people start doing, like, sketches, and he gets in the newspaper. It's like, oh, mysterious person saves family.
You know, I almost want to think that Hancock was kind of trying to do a similar thing.
No, because Hancock is like, what if superhero was a bum? But he could fly and was actually crazy super powerful. And this was more toned down. But the big twist is, you know, for the whole movie, like when Sam Jackson first appeared, he's just like, I've always thought that this was true, and I've always looked every time there was a catastrophe. You know, I've always looked for a set of words. You know, miraculously, there was a sole survivor. So, you know, that's why I found you. And the big twist is, because the whole movie Sam Jackson had been wearing, like, gloves and whatnot, so then he takes off his glove and he shakes Bruce Willis's hand, and Bruce Willis sees that every single catastrophe Sam Jackson had caused.
So Samuel L. Jackson was the bad guy?
He was the villain, because he was trying to find a superhero. And then his supervillain name is the nickname that all the kids gave him because of his brittle bone disease, which was Mr. Glass.
So... what? So the entire movie, he's trying to help Bruce Willis, but he's just been the bad guy this whole time?
Well, because all he was doing was trying to find that person.
The person that could stop him?
No. Not the person that could... He wanted to find a person that was super powerful. That was a hero.
Okay.
But in order to do that, he was trying to find someone that miraculously survived an accident. Because his whole theory is that
superheroes are real.
Superheroes are real, but it's kind of subtle, so I just need to look for something slightly out of the ordinary, and what better way than a person who miraculously survives an accident
So
he should not have survived.
So he's just been doing a whole bunch of terrible crap.
Yeah, because, like, the big reveal is, like, you know, I think at one point there was a hotel fire, and it cuts to him at a bar, and a guy's talking to him, like, he gets the guy drunk, and he's just like, I mean, honestly, don't tell anyone, but if, like, one of the lower floors caught fire, everyone in the hotel would burn alive. The exits are not well built. So, like, he set the hotel on fire, and all this other stuff.
And everybody died.
Yeah. But then the thing with Bruce Willis in the train, like, he sabotaged the train. And that was another piece of the puzzle, was at one point Bruce Willis went and found the train wreckage and found the seat he was sitting in, and the seat was, like, completely mangled.
Right.
Like, as further proof of, like, he should not have survived, but somehow he did. It's a really good movie. I loved it.
So basically, I'm trying to figure out what superhero he's supposed to kind of...
It wasn't supposed to be, like, a direct one-to-one. It was just kind of, heroes are real. You should have, you put those up too close to him.
He's just, like, he's doing way more damage than me, and, like, I could use the regular ball, but he'd still be doing more damage than me.
I don't know, man. Maybe you just gotta get good. Yeah, there were no parallels, which I think was kind of nice. Because, like, even the picture, it was, like, two people fighting each other, and they just made up random superheroes. And it wasn't even, like, how Marvel has their obvious Superman stand-in.
Which is?
I don't remember.
His name is the Sentry.
No.
Basically.
What are you asking me for if you know?
Just seeing if you knew.
But, like, that's obviously, like, okay, it's supposed to be Superman, but they had, like, the hero and the villain, there were no, like, oh, that's supposed to be so-and-so.
I think it's
It was-
essential. Maybe I'm wrong.
It was neat. It was very tasteful.
Maybe it's Hyperion.
I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Now I'm trying to think about it. Look, then here he goes, and then he breaks my door.
Oh, you got one left.
Yeah, but I need like 3.
Yeah, that's true.
I need 2 perfect balls or 3 of what I've been getting just to get through his door.
And that's the story of Shyamalan. Sixth Sense was great. Unbreakable was great. Signs was very good. The Village, he started pissing it away. And then Lady in the Water was just weird.
That was the one about Paul Giamatti at a motel, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice. You elephant murderer. No, yeah, there's like, he's in a hotel, and there's like weird prophecies about like, and there's like a chick that lives in the pool.
yeah, I
There's like
remember.
a weird werewolf that wants to kill her.
There's a werewolf?
There's like a wolf monster that's trying to kill her, and like that's part of the prophecy.
The trailers for that movie made it seem like she was the creepy monster.
No, she was the good person,
What?
and they were trying to like help her get home. They're oh, the lion's got you.
I didn't know if hitting a lion would kill it.
Nope, the lion's gonna scratch you up.
Can't scratch an armored ball.
No, because there's like some weird like they spent the movie building up like a lore, and it's like, oh, this person needs to get home, but there's always a protector, and so they find out that there's this guy who only works out one arm, and he's the protector, so he has to like stand off against this wolf that's trying to get the girl.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
And like all this other weird shit. There's like a person who can see the truth in random things, and so there's like a kid who looks at cereal boxes because they've got like a wall of a bunch of different cereals, and he can like see what's supposed to happen by looking at them. It was a weird movie.
Nothing about that makes sense.
Yeah, why do you think people didn't like it?
I don't know, like, why did he think that was a good idea?
Because he cast himself in it
Did he really?
as a misunderstood writer.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's when he really started kind of jerking himself off.
But thankfully he saved his career after that with The Last Airbender.
Yeah. Let's.
Oh, you don't want to talk about The Last Airbender?
Well, the effects were great.
Were
Obvious.
they, though?
Obvious. No, that's the joke.
Oh.
Was in the Avatar cartoon, they go and they see a play based on the Avatar, and it's terrible, but at the end of the episode they're like, well, the effects were neat.
Oh. I haven't watched Avatar in a while, so you'll have to cut me some slack.
Yeah, how dare you. I did think the effects were neat. And I remember thinking the trailer was kind of cool, because it's like the Fire Nation is crawling up a wall, and so then a guy pulls fire from something that's on fire and throws it. But I thought it was like a neat like effects flourish, like to show that he can control fire. But then in the actual movie they're like, oh no, firebenders can't make fire, they can only manipulate existing fire.
Yeah, I noticed the movie kind of like hated the idea of the benders actually just
Being as cool as they were.
being benders. And that's the end of
Yeah.
the level right there.
Well, he's not there yet. There you go. Look at you. Look at your idiot face. Well, on that note, wah wah. Wah wah wah. We'll catch you guys next time. Stay frosty.